Let's go.
Yeah. I fall 7 times, I get up 8. I fall 7 times, I get up 8. Get up 8. Get up 8. I fall 7 times, I get up 8. I fall 7 times, I get up 8.
All right, what's up, team? So we got Andy Elliot, amazing sales trainer here today. We're gonna be learning from and getting to know his background, learning how he went from an 18-year-old in Oklahoma with not many people to look up to becoming one of the biggest leaders in the industry, the sales game, the social media game, all around, to leading a massive team of successful future leaders, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. But first and foremost, Andy, thank you so much for coming down here and spending time with me. I'm super, super grateful to get to meet you and get around you. My first question for you is, when you were 18 years old, just so the viewers can get to know you a little bit more, what was your life like up until that point?
Okay, so if anybody wants to Google Jerry Springer, right? Jerry Springer was a show they had where they used to have dysfunctional families on there. And then it was crazy. And so it was a big hit show when I was a kid. I'm 45, so go look up Jerry Springer. Basically, my life was Jerry Springer. No parent, no adults. I was raised by kids, just no good examples, no leaders. My dad, I remember 18, my dad said, get a job, stay out of jail. Always made bad grades. Not because I was a bad person, I just didn't understand the value. No one explained the value of excellence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so basically I had a poor mentality. I had poverty beaten into me just at a core level as a kid. Scarcity mindset, right? Honestly, a lot of people watching this right now, 95% of the people in the world are lost. Most people are programmed as a kid how their whole life's gonna go, right? What's possible, what they can do, what they can't do. And anyways, I just never really thought I'd amount to anything. Now, that's not a victim story, that's just the truth.
Right.
So as I go to build something really great, until I got into sales, that was my destiny, not going anywhere.
Right.
And so at 18 years old, I got into sales, and I learned sales and leadership will get you rich. And I want to tell everybody watching this, sales is the name of the game to totally transform and change your life. And people think of sales like high pressure, pushy and all that. Sales is the art of communication. Like I'm talking to you right now.
Yep.
This is sales. Me going and ask my boss for a raise, that's sales. Me putting my kid to bed at night, wanting him to go to bed on time, that's sales. Me having my wife fall more in love with me every day, that's sales.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Me hanging out with cool kids, that's sales. You going to picking up a girl, that's sales. That's sales. And by the way, if you get good at sales, you'll make really good money. And so my whole life, I thought if I could just, make enough money to have a different life than I had, that'd be awesome. I didn't learn that if you got sales, you could literally get rich.
Yes,
and by the way, as I get older now, I'm 45, the goal is to get rich and have a rich life. You got to get both. And if you listen to us on this video, I'll tell you how to do it. But so making money, I made 6 figures when I was 18. I never had any money. And I made 125 grand at 18 years old. By the way, just repetition. So if everybody would say, well, how do I get good at sales? Repetition. Hey, how are you doing? Andy Elliot. How you doing? You doing good?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing? Andy Elliot. Are you doing good?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing? Andy Elliot. You doing good?
Rep.
Dude, that is what I did. I stuttered. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't understand what these hands were for. Body language, tonality, right?
Yep.
Posture, smiling, head nods, right. Those things, that repetition. And people say, well, why would I want to learn all that? Oh, listen to me. I became a multi-millionaire by the time I was 22 years old. By sales, I made my first $500,000 at 20 years old. And listen to me, I'm not skilled, okay? Now, I'm not talented. I know a lot of people that are successful that don't make a lot of money. Does that make sense?
What do you mean by that?
How many successful people do you know right now? How many talented people do you know who aren't rich?
A boatload.
Okay, so that goes to show that that talent means nothing.
True.
But I worked hard, I practiced the repetition. Anything that anyone else could do, I learned that if you can do it, that's a skill, and all skills are taught. And so I just need to keep doing this thing until I get it down.
Yes, sir.
And just so anybody watching this, understand this. If somebody can do something, you can do the same thing. Now, maybe it takes you 2 years longer than what it took them to learn it. That's okay.
Yep.
That's the beauty of the journey of life. And so Anyways, man, I just want to tell you, if you're watching this, you could be that comeback kid, that example of like what's possible. You could be living proof. If you just don't quit and you practice and you run hard at whatever you're going to do, that anything is possible. And then when you do that, you talk about the social media aspect.
Yes.
I went from being out of shape to in shape. I went from being a guy that, was like, again, I was in the car business for 21 years, but was never in this industry that we're in. And I got in and I was like, dude, who says I can't be number one in that industry? Who says? No one. That's here. I know that.
Yep.
That's my deal. And so I was like, dude, we're going to be where I was going to open a sales training company because I was good at sales. Everybody has a specialized skill, or at least if you don't have one now, you want to get one. Most people are a master of none. Like a master of none, bro. They've mastered nothing in their life. You master one thing, you become the best at it. Not one top 1%, but 0.0001%. You annihilate the world.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows your name. You become a legend.
Yes, sir.
And you can do it in anything. You're in insurance. I was in automotive. Maybe you do solar. I don't care what you do. You paint houses, be the best. Flip burgers, be the best. And I always say this. Right now, there's a lot of people that are billionaires. And dude, they're walking around here on the street, dude. And you know what they're doing? They're looking for somebody to hire and bring onto their company and their team. You don't always have to start your own business, right?
Yep.
Like you work for a company.
I do.
Right?
Yes, sir.
But you're an entrepreneur in that company.
Yes.
Okay. Most people, they say, well, I got to open my own business. That is an absolute lie. Dude, if somebody goes to sue Globe Life, are they suing you?
No.
No, they're suing Globe Life. And that's
Very
the
true.
point. My company, my team, somebody sues the Elliot Group, they sue Andy Elliot.
Right.
They don't sue my guys.
Yep.
Dude, you understand being an entrepreneur is the greatest thing on planet Earth. And so you must understand money. You must understand that if you can get into a business and blow someone else's business up and take care of their company like it was your company and treat their money like it's your money and learn the skills that no one else is taking the time to learn, you'll become the most valuable person on planet freaking Earth.
Great advice. My next question for you, Andy, is...
That was a little long, but...
That's all right. So in the insurance industry, there's tons of different life insurance companies you can work for. And one thing I've learned through my 4.5 years in the industry is there's something called shiny red ball syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can easily get distracted by outside opportunities if you're not grateful for the opportunity that you have. And a lot of life insurance teams that I've seen that don't have long-term success,
Everybody jumps around.
they recruit only based off of one thing. You can make more money here.
Yeah, higher comp plan.
Higher comp plan. But
Yep.
what I've watched from you is you talk about moral authority,
Yeah,
and how people will come work for
and
you.
loyalty.
And loyalty.
Yeah.
So what's your advice on how to build a big, loyal team based off of core values and principles and moral authority?
Well, I always tell my team, everybody says the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is green where you water it, number one, and also the grass is green over by the septic tank. And the septic tank is where the shit's at. And if you want to make a big life out of yourself, you got to solve big problems.
Yes.
And so if you're asking for a big life right now, that means you're asking for big problems. That means you're asking for a big deal. If you can't handle a relationship, if you're my girlfriend and I can't handle my relationship with me and my girl, I can't be in charge of 300 people, 500 people. I can't even handle my relationship with my girlfriend. Okay? So I hear all these people saying like, man, I want to have this big life. Man, I want to be in charge. Bro, you and your girlfriend don't even have a very good relationship. How in the hell are you going to go and be in charge of 300 people? You can't even be in charge of you and your girlfriend right now. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. But loyalty right now is the secret code to all success.
Yep.
It's loyalty. And dude, listen to me right now. You don't understand this. But every person in this world that's ever built anything big that could pay you more money than you've ever been paid, those people, they freaking want loyalty.
Yep.
They want to know that they can count on you and you're not here for just money. You're here because you're here for the mission.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but to get to that position where you can pay people a boatload of money, you probably don't get there by being unloyal and bouncing from team to team and different leader to different leader. Like, from what I've read in the Bible and what I've learned from my mentors, you have to be loyal if you want to build a big loyal team yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, number one, your values, right? I hire based on values. I hire based off standards. I hire off the heart. So I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how skilled you are. Dude, if you don't have values, I'm out. If you don't have standards, I'm out. And you should feel the same way. Because listen, man, in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, when things get hard, the people that are talented with no values are always going to leave. They're always going to leave. They'll always leave because they're going to leave for an easier life.
Yes.
And so our biggest goal is that, if you want to, if you want to build a life that you've never imagined you could build, you need to find a good company, find a good leader, find a good organization, find a good earning opportunity, right?
Yep.
And then become the world's best and be loyal. And by the way, be a great leader, which is self-leadership. Like you're leading yourself. You lead yourself well. That makes other people be like, dude, this guy leads himself well. I want to be like him. Now they want to be led by you. So level leadership 1 is self-leadership. 2 is lead others. Then 3 would be building leaders that build more leaders. Could you imagine this, man? You're sitting up top one day, you got 1,000 people, right?
Yep.
And they're all building more leaders because of what you did for them. They're indebted to you because you changed my life.
Right.
Now I want to go change this guy's life. Not because I'm getting paid, not because I'm getting paid for it as a leader, but because I'm a leader.
Right.
Remember, leaders in an on or off switch. Leadership is like, it's what you do because of who you are. Leadership is in the community. Leadership is at home. Leadership is in the office. Most people, they think that they're a leader at the job, and then when they leave the job, they're like, oh man, I'm tired. That's a boss, and nobody wants to work for a boss. Nobody wants a manager.
Right.
People work for the leader for blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes, sir.
They work for the boss for a paycheck. And that's why people leave people when they only have a manager or a boss, but they never leave a leader.
That's amazing advice. My next question for you, Andy, is we were talking about it a little bit in the gym, how faith has played a role in your life and how you grew up with really no connection to God other than you said your dad wore a cross necklace. So talk to the people watching about how did you first meet God and feel that relationship, and how has that impacted your life and your career?
Yeah, so I learned that most people meet God when they're humbled,
Very true.
when they're brought to their knees, when they do something that they're in absolute shame of. They're embarrassed. You made a mistake and you're like, I can never come back from this. And by the way, that's when a lot of people kill themselves. And they don't realize that's just a bad day, because the devil's really good, dude.
Yep.
He's got some tools, and devastation is his favorite one. And he loves to catch somebody making a mistake. And so I've made some mistakes in my life, and I remember at these times when I was like at an all-time low, there would be no human being that could make me feel worthy of continuing. But at those times I'd get down on my knees, and I remember I would always distant from God when things were great. And then when I was brought to my knees and I was always devastated and I was on my last leg, then I would see I would understand. I would get down on my knees and I'd be like, God, I feel like the devil's like a roaring lion trying to devour me. Like he's trying to take me out right now. But I'm like, I need peace. I'm going to give you all my anxieties. I'm going to just give it away. And I remember in those moments, all my anxiety was gone. All my worries were gone.
Yep.
No lie. Like nothing happened. A simple prayer. And I would just realize, man, God's real. Like, why do I keep leaving this guy? Like, I left him so many times, over and over and over. And then I would stay close, and things would get good again. And then I'd make a lot of money, and then, boom, I'd be brought to my knees again. As I'd rise, accolades would increase. I would distance myself from him.
Yep.
Because I would become like the world, right? And by the way, God wants you to live in abundance. He wants you to make a lot of money.
He does.
He just doesn't want to be forgotten about.
Yep.
Okay? And so, boom, he humbles you again.
Yep.
And there I am back on my knees saying, man, dude, I'm so stupid. I promise you I'll never leave you again. And so the first 40 years of my life was these patterns and cycles of crap. The last 5 years of my life, I've stayed close to God in my relationship, and my life has been unreal. By the way, abundance like I've never seen.
Yep.
I don't even want to get into the financial side, because the financial side is irrelevant, but which proves God will take care of your business when you take care of his business.
Yep.
And when I say I opened one of the fastest growing sales training companies in the world, how is that possible? That doesn't even make sense. How could a guy like me do that? God opens doors that humans can't close.
That's right.
I've had so many people try to shut me down. I've had so many haters try to bring up my past. Say, you don't know this guy. God doesn't care.
Yep.
Matter of fact, God turned Saul, who was the Christian killer, into Paul, who was the poster child of the New Testament, who took the Bible the furthest. So he makes examples. He has people that have the biggest messes to make it their message in life to say, hey, see what I did with him?
Yep.
Come with me.
Yes, sir.
And so I feel like that as I get older now, I'm embracing all the crap and mistakes I've made, because now I get to be an example and living proof of what's possible. But all the credit goes back to God, because only until I really valued my relationship with Christ has my life been this amazing.
Yes, sir.
And so now I refuse to leave.
Yep.
And not because of what he gives me, but because of the peace and the love I have in my life.
Yes, sir.
And that's what makes all this thing go around. I can't be shaken.
Yep. It's crazy because you were talking about at your lowest points in life where no human on earth can possibly make you feel good about yourself. You get brought to your knees. You had peace. And I know in the Bible it says when you get in touch with the Holy Spirit, there's a peace that just makes no sense.
Oh, yeah.
And in a situation like that where everything's crumbling, maybe it's your finances are
All
shot,
of it.
business, getting sued, family, relationships, it wouldn't make any sense to have peace.
I don't like me.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, you hate you.
But
You're like, I don't even like me. I get why
Holy
everybody don't like me.
The Holy Spirit can and will provide you with that peace.
Yeah.
Take away your shame, because shame's bad. Shame's going to attract more negative things in your life. And one of my favorite Bible verses is pride comes before the fall, and humility comes before honor. So it's like what you said. You start killing it in business and you start thinking it's you. That's pride. That's ego. You think all of this abundance is from you and not from God. Well, guess what? When you start being filled with that ego and with that pride, boom, the fall. And the fall comes because God disciplines the ones that he loves, so you can get brought to your knees and in a humble spot where you can realize where these blessings are coming from.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes discipline after discipline after discipline till you're finally humble enough to be like, you know what, maybe this isn't from me, this is from God. And kind of like you were saying the last 4 or 5 years for you, you've kept God in the center of it. You glorify him through everything. You know it's coming from him and not you. And I believe for you and for me, the way my business works too is, as long as I stay humble, God's gonna keep honoring me and providing me with the things I need and just more abundance in every aspect of my life.
Oh yeah, and I want to say, and we'll finish with this because I think this is important. There's a prayer that I started saying about 5 years ago.
Let me guess. Is it the prayer of Jabez?
Well, I don't know if it's a real prayer, in there, but it's a prayer that God is good, God is great, God thank you for my food, amen. Like, you know, people like say like prayers, right?
Yep.
This is a prayer, and it's very simple, and anybody can say it, but you have to be very careful when you pray it. And it's, God, break me in my weaknesses. And I had so many weaknesses, and I asked God to break me of these things that I carried. They were leashes and generational curses that I'd carried from my family over now into my new family. And just, I never could get rid of them. And so I asked him, I was like, God, just break me in my weaknesses. I know what they are. I need you to break me, like snap me in half, like get rid of them. And you have to be careful when you do, because he will. And he did. And my life has been so amazing. And I want to tell you, a lot of people, they hear these things that you say and they're like, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna go back to work. Listen, until you get wisdom, you'll never get financially free. You'll never get success. I know a lot of people that made a lot of money for a few years that are ass broke right now. I know a lot of people who one time were really cool, they're nobody now. I will promise you, just like David he beat Goliath.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
What's possible when your relationship is right with God is he will slay every dragon in your life.
Yep.
He fights all my battles, all my wars. And it doesn't mean I'm not ready to go to war. I raise my hand, he's with me, I've got a giant behind me. Yep. We go to war, we win. We win every time. And when I make these mistakes, which stupid mistakes that human beings make all the time, which you'll make, I make, we all make them.
Yep.
I know whose I am, and he loves me so much, he forgives me. And I don't have to question that. I don't have to think about that. I don't need validation from you. Like, man, do you think I'll be okay?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to ask anyone else.
Yep.
Like, do you understand how dangerous you become when you don't have to ask anyone else? Mm-hmm. Right? Like a lot of people right now, they're like, hey man, do you think I'll be okay? You don't need to ask another human.
Yeah.
Like, you just, hey God, I know everything's gonna be okay.
Right.
And like, it will.
Yes, sir.
And so like, I just wanted to say that, but it took me a long time to really believe that he was real. And until I leaned into that maturity, you know, because males mature really late in life. I didn't mature till I was 40. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you guys mature faster than me. But once I understood the games to stay close to him,
Yep.
I'm unstoppable.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
One thing you said about wisdom, like you need wisdom.
Yeah.
I read my Bible every single day, and what my Bible says is the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So wisdom is that. You fear the Lord. You know how powerful he is. You know if you don't obey what you should be doing, bad things are going to come into your life.
Yeah.
So when you fear the Lord, you do what you know you need to do, and that's wisdom. And at the same time, a couple chapters later in my Bible, it says, those who have wisdom love their life. And when you love your life, that's gratitude. You love your life, you're full of gratefulness. And when you're grateful, I believe that's just gonna keep attracting more things to be grateful for.
Oh, yeah.
When I was saying my prayers this morning, I found myself asking for a better house, a better car. And then I'm like, wait a second, I just need to be grateful for the car that I have or for the house that I have.
Yeah.
Because why would God give me a bigger house or a bigger car if I'm not already thankful for the one that I have? I had heard an analogy once.
Yeah, and he knows what you need.
He knows exactly what you
dude,
need.
and he wants you to have newer, because he wants to use you as an example for other people to look up to for what's possible when you're doing the right thing.
100%. I heard an analogy once, maybe we could finish with this, is let's say you live in a house and you have a neighbor and you're super loaded, you're super rich, you can provide anything really. You got all the money, all the resources in the world, but your neighbor does not. And your neighbor asks you, can I borrow some salt? You're gonna give them the salt because you have it to give. And they're gonna ask you the next day, can I have some salt? Can I have some salt? Can I have some salt? But if they never say thank you, and they're not like, thank you so much, everything I have is because you keep giving it to me, eventually you might be like, I keep giving this dude all this stuff. He's never said thank you once. I got this other neighbor over here who I give him something small and it's like, he's on his knees bowing down to me saying, thank you so much, I'd be nothing without this salt. So when the neighbor who always asks for the salt asks for the steaks, they want a lifetime supply of big ribeyes, and then the other neighbor asks for the ribeyes too. If you're the one with all the power and all the resources and you've got a bunch of people asking for your ribeyes, are you gonna give it to the person that was ungrateful for everything you've already given them?
No.
Or are you gonna give it to the person that's majorly over the top grateful and just they tell everybody that everything I have is because my neighbor gives it to me? You're gonna give it to the person that's full of gratitude. And I think that way when I'm saying my prayers, I'm like, I want everyone to know everything I have is because I ask God and I stay super grateful and he gives it to me.
Yeah.
And I know most people don't do that. So it's no surprise, most people my age, as humbly as I can say, they don't have maybe the finances or the relationships or
They
what
could.
I have. They could.
They could.
That's the secret.
They just need to run this play.
Exactly.
Yeah, and basically what you're saying is, it's good to want big things in life,
Yep.
right? And if you do the right things, those things are going to come. And obviously, nobody's going to give continually to somebody that isn't good with the seed.
Yep.
If I throw seed on this soil, but it's dead and it's not moist and able to grow anything, I'm going to get tired of throwing seed on you.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so be a person that, when somebody sows into you, that you become the greatest student.
Yep.
You become a person that's super grateful.
Yep.
You become a person with a good heart where there's no, darkness. And by the way, everybody's going to fall off every day.
Yes, sir.
But just be one of these people that understands the power of changing that quick.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I really think though, anybody who's watching this, everybody wants what this world has, right? But you got to be able to see with abundance that it's everywhere around you, and who you become will determine what you attract.
Yep.
And if you don't like what you have currently right now in life, it's because what you're attracting is who you are. And so if you want to change what you're attracting, if you want to change what you're getting, income, relationships, the way you like yourself, the way you love yourself, the way people view you, the way you view the world, then you got to change. And I think that change is easiest when you're closest to God.
Yep.
And it's long term.
Yes, sir.
So if you want a big, beautiful life for a long time, you're going to need God. And then just and everything in self-development is biblical.
Yep.
But the old is gone, the new has come. You got to change your perspective. You got to change the way you see things. You got to change the way you operate. You got to change and be grateful and have gratitude. But this is the unattractive topic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
A lot of people want to get all hyped up, they get jacked up, nothing changes, they're motivated for a week.
Yep.
This is how you sustain long-term success, and you end up dying a legend.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, well, we learned a lot. I know Andy's probably tight on time. He's super busy, super successful. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. You could be doing anything. I mean, people in Miami would pay Andy a ton of money to spend time with them. He's here sitting on a park bench with me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
This guy's going to blow up. He's going to do big things.
Yes, sir.
Never underestimate what's possible. Guys like me or anybody who's successful, really want to spend and give their time to people that are going to do something with it, right?
Yep.
So I want you to understand, it's not about money, it's not about anything. I know if I spend my time with you, I know what you're going to do with it. You're going to multiply everything that I teach you times 100 million. And anybody that's anybody in this world that's very successful, they don't want to spend their time, even for trading time for money, with somebody they're not going to go do anything and get results with what we give you. And I know that whatever I give you, I know you're going to run out of here and you're going to go, wow, and you're going to just grow.
Yep.
And so like, it's totally worth it. That's why this stuff's worth it. And that's the reason why we're with you, is because you're going to do big things, and then you're going to get older, and you'll be looking up one day, you're 30 years old, and people are going to be like, dude, you could be anywhere. And you're going to be like, yeah, but I feel like you're going to do something with this. And then you're talking to some other guy, older or younger, age doesn't matter. But you're going to be like, yeah, but I feel like you're going to do something with this. So I know you're going to do something with this.
Thank you, brother.
That's
Appreciate
what
it. Stay grateful, audience. God is great. The best is yet to come. Big event coming on Saturday, and then we're going to be spending the night on the yacht with Andy. So stay tuned. Subscribe to the YouTube for more content. God is great. Let's get it.
Let's go.